Well, my name is Senator Kenny Yuko. I am the Senate Minority Leader. It's a position I'm serving now for my 6th year. This is my 8th year as a state senator. I also served 8 years as a state representative prior to that. My role here is basically to take a lead role into our caucus for our Democrats. We are in a super minority status, which means the Republicans really don't need our support for anything, but that doesn't minimize our efforts. We remain strong, we remain committed, and we're committed to fighting for the rights of all the people. Well, prior to becoming a state representative, I was a union organizer for all my adult life, and I had the opportunity to retire at one point and run for public office. And in doing so, I felt like as a member of the laborers union for now 48 years, at that particular time I had listened to district council meetings every single month hearing about how the legislature was coming after organized labor, whether it be collective bargaining, prevailing wage, our pension plans. And we needed someone to have a strong voice and fight for working families. Our working families are the backbone of this great state of ours. In fact, the backbone of the entire nation. And we need to protect those folks. So how do we do this? We put people of labor influence into the General Assemblies. Well, guess what? I made the motion that someone get involved, and guess who it turned out to be? It turned out to be me. So I retired from the union, I ran for public office, and here I am into my final year now, after serving 8 years in the House and over 7 years in the Senate now. Hey, when you talk about the responsibilities, it's so much more than what most people anticipate. They think we just sit back and we think of an idea and we write a bill to correspond to that idea, and that's not how it works. Usually it's the people coming to us, explaining to us what their problem is, what their situation is, and asking us, can you help me make it better? And sometimes that's done through legislation. And as we look about the components of it, we write out. But we have to reach out to our colleagues too. We have to know who we're dealing with, if they're going to be supporters or if they're going to be those who are going to oppose us. And in the process of doing so, you have to do a lot of research. It's like when I first decided to run for office, I knew I could be a champion for labor issues. What I didn't know was what else was involved. So I started looking at all the committees, finding out what the committees were, whether it was the Finance Committee, the Health Committee, Government Committee, the Law Committee, whatever it was, we had to find out what they were dealing with, what kind of legislation they were proposing or listening to. Then you had to find out who the members were who were serving those committees. What was their background? Where are they from? Are they from rural Ohio? Are they from Appalachia, Ohio? Are they from urban Ohio? Are they from a big city? And you put all that information together, and what you do is you realize what you can do and what you can't do. And if you can do something, you go ahead, you get the legislation drafted. The Legislative Service Commission does a great job of assisting us with that. We have to go out and get co-sponsors, and you do that by reaching out to your colleagues and asking them to please support your legislation. You get it assigned to a committee, you give sponsor testimony, you wait for proponent testimony, opponent testimony, interested party testimony, and then often it is the case where amendments are offered at the end of it, and you compromise and you try to work things out so you can bring it to a vote. Once it's brought to a vote, it goes back to the Senate President's desk where he waits to give his blessing to get it brought to the Senate floor for a vote by your members. Once that's done, that's only half the process, because now it's got to go over to the House and we start all over again. And if they make some changes, it's got to come back to the Senate so we can either agree or disagree to their changes. If we disagree, it could wind up in conference committee. So it's a long, drawn-out process, but it's also a lot of fun because you're reaching out to people. Often in that process, you're compromising because they have some good ideas that maybe you missed it for some reason, and you're able to put it in there. And many times it makes their bill stronger. Rarely does it make the bill weaker. It's usually, most of the time, I believe, it makes the bill stronger. So we want to talk about the importance of our jobs, what it means to be in elected office, whether you're a local official, a county official, a state official, or a federal official. Let's talk about what's most important to you. Who keeps your schools strong? Who keeps your playgrounds and parks strong and running? Who makes sure we have enough money for Little League in the summertime and football programs in the fall and basketball in the winter? Who's going to make sure that we have buses running to make sure you get to school back home again? Who's going to make sure that your moms and dads have good jobs, that pay good living wages, that have health care, and that have the pension plans so they have the ability to retire one day? These are all things that falls in the responsibility of all of us. And you'll find often is the case, someone who starts off in local government might wind up in county government, might wind up in state government, might wind up in federal government. It's a process that you don't have to take, but often is the case. And in the process, we make everywhere we live, hopefully, a little bit better place to call home, to raise your families, to have good paying jobs, and to hopefully retire one day.